So, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Arnie's Fantasy World of Sports. And I'm looking at the chat room, and there's talk of Stratomatic baseball. That may be the only baseball we have this year. I enjoyed Lenny's show this morning. Lenny, great analysis. And I want to just sort of talk about that for a minute. You know, I've been doing some research and listening and watching. And the bottom line is right now, guys, Major League Baseball has no plan. There is no plan in place. And what does that mean? Well, when there's no plan, there's no games. And here we are, we're almost through April. It's April the 20th, and there is no plan. And so, how long will it take for there to be a plan in place before we actually have games? I mean, the fact of the matter is, since Major League Baseball does not have any plan, and the only discussion I'm hearing are ideas, then I'm really wondering, will there even be a season in 2020? And I say that because, are you going to start a Major League Baseball season in August? Are you going to start a Major League Baseball season in September? You know, there's already talk that college football will be suspended. And so if you're not going to have college football or talking of suspending that, I've just got this really sad, weak feeling down in the pit of my stomach. Lenny calls it a gut feeling that the longer we go without an actual plan being revealed, the longer or the better the chance is there is no season. And so you hear these players, I've listened to them too. I'm looking at the chat room. We're not talking much about fantasy baseball any longer. We're talking about games that we can play and haircuts of players and anything and everything we can think of to fill our time. I don't know if you guys watched The Last Dance last night. Michael Jordan, Chicago Bulls anthology is I guess what you'd call it. It was a 2-hour intro. It's going to be like 5 straight Sundays, 2 episodes per Sunday, something like that. But it's an anthology of the Chicago Bulls, and I found myself, as I'm watching that about the Bulls, being so entrenched in that because, face it, all we've got are Stratomatics. All we've got are drafts of players with no promise of games, no assurance of games. How many of you guys have booked trips prior to the delay in action, thinking I'm going to see a game? I know I had booked a trip, or have booked a trip, to St. Louis in July, right after the All-Star break. The Yankees are in town. And I'm looking forward to, watching the Yankees and the Cardinals and what history and da-da-da. And, I got these tickets, and now I'm thinking, what good are they? Am I even going to be able to think about going? And here we are, April 20th. And so, I don't know what you guys are thinking. I'm looking in the chat room. Good morning, Andrea. Good morning, Demazins. Good morning, DK Luce, Doug Boyle, George, Lenny, Taco, putting on the Ritz. It's it's just, and good morning to you, Taco. Thank you. So I look at what you guys are talking about in the chat room. I'm all into the games. I'm all into doing things to occupy our time. That's really what it's about right now. This virus has shut down so many things. The thing I'm thinking about not only are people's health, but physical health, but how about mental health? People who, like me, we're shut up, we're cooped up. I think this is unlike anything I have ever experienced in the 54 years I have been on planet Earth. I have never experienced anything like this. And I just don't think that we can see the forest for the trees right now. This is I think, a long-term situation. Good morning, Andrea. And I don't know what game you guys are playing, but try to include me. How about that? But it's a long-term situation. I've heard discussions about minor league teams may go under. This is just in a baseball sense. And can you imagine the outcry or the deluge, the downhill flow when minor league teams are shut down, if they are shut down? Because not only will players not have the opportunity to live the dream, but what about the workers who work in the minor league parks, who are now without jobs, who probably some have invested years into this line of work? This is a major, major problem. And I appreciate and applaud those who think that we can get back sooner than later. I think if Major League Baseball came out and said, here is our plan. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to start July 15th. Now, if they did that, and I heard Lenny and his plan this morning, great ideas. Let's say they did that and we said July 15th is our start date. Couldn't they always come back later and say, wait a minute, things haven't improved. We're going to delay this even more. Now, we'd be disappointed, sure. But the fact that they haven't done that, think about this, guys. How soon after the World Series do we have schedules made out for the following year? Really soon. Because travel and planning and just everything that goes into that, and we have no plan. We have no schedule. We have really no idea other than the ideas that have been bantered back and forth. So, yeah, I'm discouraged. I'd love to get some word from Major League Baseball. This is our target date. And when we go to this target date, here is how we're going to play our games. Give us something. And right now, it's me talking about it. It's Lenny talking about it. It's podcasters and sports enthusiasts talking about it. I want someone with Major League Baseball to come out and say, here is our plan. I think that's fair to the players. I think that's fair to the stadium workers and employees. I think that's fair to the fans with the understanding, hey, we're in this. If it's not better, we can always delay it. I guess you guys heard last week President Trump came up with this phase 1, phase 2 type thing. Some states are going to be phased into regular activity quicker than others. I'll give you a great example. North Carolina, my home state. We're going to be probably phased in a lot quicker than you guys who live in New York. I was speaking with someone in New York, speaking with someone in Boston. It's a totally different situation in Boston and New York than what we have here in North Carolina. And so when you hear, they might get back to work, and you're thinking up north, wow, well, that's crazy. It's not so crazy when you're in a locale like I'm in. People are out and about and doing here. Our cases are low. Now, you start opening up the floodgates too soon, I'm just concerned this virus will recreate itself. And I've got a political conspiracy theory. Why not throw it out, right? I just think nobody says this often, but are we not possibly looking at some biological warfare here? I mean, we've got a virus that can't be diagnosed. There is no cure. And there's a lot going on with that. I'm not going to dig into that too deep because that's another day for another show. But it's not talked about. And hey, it's my podcast. I'm going to talk about it just a little bit. It's such a serious thing, and yet there's no plan. And I've always been taught, I was taught this about women. Okay, here you go. Women love a man with a plan. Well, let's get a plan. And if we get to the 8th inning and we have to change our plan, so be it. We'll do what's best for our country. We'll do what's best for our citizens. But would there be anything wrong with making a plan now, Rob Manfred, and setting out divisions, maybe like Lenny suggested? Maybe it's the Arizona plan. Maybe it's the split plan between Arizona or the Cactus League and the Grapefruit League. Just give me something. Give me something to grab for, to hang on to look forward to. And maybe if we did that, yeah, I agree. There's no plan for uncertainty. But if we came up with a plan and then things change, at least we're forward thinking. Right now, there's no, I don't know. Maybe you think I'm crazy. I just think we're sitting here talking about on podcasts throughout the country, on sportscasts throughout the country, what might happen. What if they give us something to talk about? Then we've got a plan. We as Americans love that. And so I think it's time we start looking forward instead of looking one step ahead. And if it doesn't work out, then we make adjustments. So I'm all for these strat leagues. I'm all for fantasy leagues. I'm all for it. But I'm more for getting through this emotionally and physically as a people. And I think that's where we need to be focusing on. So I see you guys in the chat room are talking about a strat league, and I think that's great. Since that seems to be the focus this morning, I don't have any real news because there is none. So I'm not just going to sit here and talk about something that I don't really know what's going to happen. I've got some material when we do get back into strategy. We know who's going to play who. We know where divisions people are going to be in. But I'll be back. I'll be back tomorrow, but there's not a whole lot to go over today. Let's set up that Stratomatic League. Let's see what we can do with that. And I'll be talking to you tomorrow. So everyone have a great day.